So this is my Nissan 350Z. And this is the cheapest wide body kit that you can buy for these cars. So let's try and fit this to this. So I think the first thing that we need to do to start getting the body kit on the car is let's have a quick mock-up. So let's get out the wrappers and get it stuck on there. So now we've got the kit unpackaged and laid out where it's supposed to go on the car. Let me run you through what's included. So first up is the brand new front bumper. This is a full replacement, so you remove the old bumper and fit this one. I've not got my hopes up for this, but it's the biggest part on the car, and also the wings rely on that fitting well, so I don't know how well that's going to go. Got a separate splitter that goes with that. Some over fenders or wide arches for the front and the rear. Again, I'm not so hopeful. And also we've got a 3-part diffuser and a little ducktail spoiler as well. So there's quite a lot included with this cheap little kit. Now there is this tiny little bit of damage on one of the wide arches, but I'm not even going to complain about it because I think it's more hassle than it's worth. It's quite an easy little repair that. It just needs strengthening up and a bit of filler over the top, I think, and that should be good to go. But I mean, where do I start with it? I suppose let's just start getting it on. I think the easiest bit to do is going to be the spoiler, so let's take a start with that. Wish me luck.
That's right, so in this video we are taking an attempt at fitting this Rocket Bunny-ish body kit. So the first thing that needs to come off to fit this body kit is the rear badge. So after heating it up and using a little bit of fishing line, we managed to pop that off. Then a quick test fit of the new ducktail spoiler shows that I think it may be better if the old wing comes off, plus it may be useful to someone else out there. So off comes the boot lining trim. It's just held on with a few clips, and there's 2 10mm which hold the spoiler on. Then it just takes a little bit of heat and a little bit of prying and quite a lot of brute force, and the old wing pops off. So now the new spoiler is fitting as well as it's going to, so we can start taping it onto the car. So just quickly taping on the rear arches, no fiddling around here, but this is just to get an idea of how it's going to look on the car and the best course of action to take from here. Next up is the front bumper, and we can't put it over the top of the old one, so let's get the old one off. Luckily, I knew the bumper wasn't going to be staying on for long when I changed the engine, so just 6 clips at the top and 2 cable ties, 1 in each wheel arch, and the old bumper is off. So very quickly it became apparent that the new bumper is going to need some trimming, and also the crash bar is going to need some trimming in order to get this to fit. So next up we're going to trim down the crash bar. We'll just use an angle grinder just to cut the edges off, and hopefully this allows the bumper to sit where it should. So this body kit came completely undrilled, so we've got to take the holes from the old bumper and transfer them to the new one somehow. So I had this great idea of using a bit of tape to draw little templates, which, I'm not going to lie to you, did not work at all, so I just ended up mocking it up on the car and re-drilling the holes sort of where they should look like they should have gone.
Okay, so now I've got the bumper sort of in place. I'm not 100% happy with where it's sat. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I think we can improve that a little bit, but I can't really do any more there and line it up any better until the wings are on, and to do that I've got to slice the standard wing. I'm absolutely bricking it, but I've kind of marked out where I need to cut, and let's do it. This is going to go so wrong.
So with a bit of help from another YouTube video, I managed to get a rough idea of where I needed to cut this wing from, so marked it out with a permanent marker and just got chopping with it. was a bit nerve-wracking the first time you put an angle grinder to the body of your car, but once you've accepted its fate and there's no turning back, then you just kind of get into the flow. So there is one chopped arch, and now hopefully the new Rocket Bunny wing actually fits. Next up, a bit more trimming work around the headlight on the bumper. This was just fitting a little bit off, so we took a little bit of material off here, and hopefully it fits a little easier. Next up was to drill the holes in the side of the bumper where it attaches to the wing, so using a bit of precision guesswork, managed to get that done. So now the wings are cut, the Rocket Bunny over fenders actually fit, so we can send the self-tapper in there and start drilling a few holes. So once we've got all the pilot holes drilled, we can take the over fender off and start drilling out some bigger ones, ready for the rib nuts to go in. And yes, if you're wondering if it feels brutal doing this, it does. So shouts out to Crouchy who lent us this rib nut gun to make this job a hell of a lot easier. It's mental how much time just a little tool like this actually saves, but once we've got all the holes drilled and all the rib nuts sent in, we can start fitting up the over fender. I can already hear you screaming in the comment section about the bolts that we're using. Don't worry, these are just temporary and they are going to be changed, so quit your moaning. So next up, wanted to tackle the spoiler. We thought this would be a pretty easy one to do. Turns out we were pretty wrong, but same process again. Sending in some self-tappers, drilling a load of holes, smashing in some riv nuts, and just wrestling it on the car. So I am a little bit concerned by water getting into the boot. Maybe there's a better way to seal up these riv nuts than what we've done. If you've got any suggestions, just let me know in the comment section. So the spoiler didn't fit the best, and it did have to go on in a very particular order in order to get it to fit, but we got there in the end. And next up is the rear arches, so again following the same process, although this did feel quite sketchy going around the fuel filler cap.
What did that just go into? I went into something.
So I've got to say thank you at this point to Wayne and Matt, who both came around and gave me a hand fitting up this body kit, and I think without them I probably would have made more of a mess of it. So on a wide arch kit, the idea is that you run wider wheels that you wouldn't have been able to run originally. So we've got to chop off the original arches in order to get these to fit. Then cut these tabs in, bend them up and weld up the gaps. So it's now the next day and I wanted to do some of the tidy up bits on the car, and the first thing was this crash bar, because it was more visible now with the new front bumper. I wanted to get this black so it's not so in your face. And also as well, we want to start looking at fitting the splitter to the bumper. Now this is quite a heavy splitter, so we're going to use loads of riv nuts to try and spread the weight. Now we don't want to be driving the car with the bare metal exposed to the elements because it's going to rust very, very quickly. So our neighbour Tom nipped around and kindly welded up the gaps for us. Now, like I said, this splitter weighs an absolute ton, so I don't want to rely just on the strength of the fiberglass to take the weight of this. So using these little splitter support bars and some self-tappers into the crash bar and a nut and bolt onto the splitter, this should help take the weight and some of the strain off the fiberglass.
Okay, so the 350Z Rocket Bunny kit is just about done, and I know you guys want to see it. I've got two things that I need to do first before I show you that. I need to tidy up this absolute state and also wash the car as well because it's absolutely covered in grinding dust and fiberglass. It's just filthy. So let's get those done and let's show you the car. So without further ado, here is my Rocket Bunny sort of 350Z. Now, I'm not sure if I want to run this splitter or not. It seems to flick up quite a lot, which I know it's supposed to do, but I'm not sure if I like. And also as well, we've still got to get the diffuser on. We've got to make some brackets up underneath the car to be able to hang that from, so that's a job for another time. And obviously we've got to do something about these wheels. They're so far in these new wide arches that you just cannot see them, so I need some new wheels. I think I want to go at least 1 inch up, so at least 19s, and they're going to have to be wide. So obviously now I'm in the market for some wide body style wheels, so some extreme offset and width wheels. So if you know of any for sale, any stud pattern, let me know on my Instagram just here. And in regards to the quality of the body kit itself, the fit is not as bad as I was expecting. There's a small lip here which I think I can improve by adjusting the way that the bumper sits. There is a tiny hole in the body kit here, but that just needs a small fiberglass repair before we decide what colour we go with the car. And also as well, there is some damage on this arch here, but again, a very small repair. Obviously, I'm going to change the bolts which hold this kit on as well, so you know, don't hate me in the comment section. But all in all, for what I paid for this kit, I'm pretty happy with it really, and I'll be interested to see how it looks when it's completely done. But I'm not sure if I want to paint it or wrap it yet. Let me know in the comment section what your opinion is. Now, obviously, you can't do all of this to a bog standard car, so go and check out this video here to see some of the previous work we've done modifying this 350Z. Smash here to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.